moving towards Sherwood here, moving in within the next few minutes or so. It looks like it's now approaching Spring Ridge Road. So if you live along that, it's about to pass right on top of your area. Still make sure that you are staying in that safe place. Sherwood again is next up. It may go just to the south of Duty right along Catahoula Church Road. But that's going to be the spots that we'll be watching again as this moves further north and east. And again, it picked up a little bit of speed. Earlier it was about 10 and it was 20 miles per hour, and now it's around 30 miles per hour is how fast it's moving. So just moving a little bit quicker, which gives you a little less time to be prepared if you haven't already gotten that safe spot. Jake, update?
Yes, the National Weather Service in Jackson has just mentioned that there is a weak but tight couplet right there on the parish line, so there could be a tornado on the ground just past Louisiana Highway 126. So one thing I want to see here with our debris tracker, not seeing anything that really stands out, but again, you're going to want to be in your shelter as this couplet here does seem to be tightening up a little bit, and there could be a tornado on the ground now. So this area of circulation is currently just to the east of Industrial Park Road 3 and Industrial Park 63, and it is moving off to the northeast. So if you're near Spring Ridge Road, Sherwood, Old Columbia Road, now is the time to be in that tornado shelter. Dean Road, if you're to the south of Roseville, now is the time to move to your tornado shelter. I'm going to put a track on this rotation couplet here over the next little bit. We're going to track this out. This is moving towards Duty here within the next 10 minutes. Enterprise by 10:54 and the city of Extension by 11:01. So if you're in those towns and you have not taken shelter, now is the time to go ahead and get in your tornado safe place. If this continues on its track and holds its strength as it continues moving to the northeast, this could move just to the northwest of Wisner. So I'm going to retract that out for you here. Again, if you're in Duty, this area of rotation moving towards you around 10:51, Extension closer to 11. 11:10 for Wisner, 11:13 for Gilbert. So if you're not in your tornado safe place, now is the time to be there. Again, that's that interior room, putting as many walls between you and the outside as possible away from windows. Sheena?
Yeah, I just want to jump to the north really quickly. A flash flood warning is about to come out for Union Parish and Union County, and that's just because, as we mentioned earlier, there's low-lying areas now that are piling up with water. So stay off the roadways if you do not have to absolutely be traveling out there right now. It is very important, and especially if you come across a spot where water is starting to run over the roadways, don't even test it, right? This time of year, we get a lot of potholes as well because we're getting so much rain. Things are washing out beneath the ground. And so you just never know what the condition of that roadway is beneath that water after it's been moving quickly across. So that's what we'll be monitoring, of course, that flooding, but we are going to go back down to this potential tornado that is moving through Catahoula Parish, cross 126. And again, this area of rotation was showing that it's starting to tighten up just a little bit more, may indicate that that tornado is trying to, reach the ground. And so we've got to treat it as is. It already, took out some power towards the Gina area, could be taking out some power towards Aimwell as well. And just make sure that you continue to have multiple ways to receive alerts. So let's pull up the scope here. Let's get another view of the velocity with this system. This is in effect until 11:45 this morning. So about another hour or so here as it works its way off to the north and east. This does include areas like Wisner and Gilbert, but the rotation is still pretty far away from you. So you still have time to just be getting into that safe spot if you haven't done that already. So this is that area of rotation, and you actually can kind of see the little tiny spin that it has going on right as it's crossing over from LaSalle Parish into Catahoula. But I would say it looks like now that the rotation for sure is in Catahoula Parish. LaSalle, you should be in the clear for this time. So let's zoom in just a little bit closer and see if we can't get another view of some of these areas that are going to be impacted. It's probably approaching the Sherwood area. Getting pretty close, it looks like. Maybe lifting maybe a little bit more north. Yep, so Sherwood's about to come right on top of you. Probably already getting some strong winds from that. Fire Tower Road, also seeing some of those strong winds. The potential of that tornado to be on the ground, of course, is there. So make sure that you're in your safe spot. Catahoula Church Road, you're going to be up next. Enterprise, you're also going to be up next. So make sure you are in your safe spot. Rosefield, this is going just off to your south and your east. Looks like it may go right around you, but if you are in that tornado warning, make sure to still be staying in your safe spot until we give that all clear. So again, Sherwood right on top of you. Fire Tower Road, if you live even just south of Sherwood, you need to make sure that you are in your safe place. This is in the northern portion of Catahoula Parish, if you are unaware of where this is located. All right, so this is what we're going to be keeping an eye on. Also, let's see if we can't pull up some of the hail that we have here. It looks like some small hail is falling with this as it has moved across from LaSalle into Catahoula Parish. So this is indicating there could be maybe some pea-sized hail falling with it, maybe penny-sized hail, which also gives us a good idea of the intensity of this system. So let's go back. Let's take a look at that velocity one more time. Again, this is basically moving into the Sherwood area, northeast 30 miles per hour. So it's starting to pick up, gain some speed there. Pretty intense system as it moves off north and east. If you happen to live in the Sherwood area and if you end up having damage after this passes on through, make sure to give us that information. Again, we tell the National Weather Service this helps them go out and survey areas that have been damaged from either thunderstorms or potential tornadoes. Jake, anything?
We don't have many new updates as of right now. That area of circulation, the National Weather Service mentioned just a few minutes ago that it is coming up on Spring Ridge Road. We have seen this move into Catahoula Parish, though, just to the south of Louisiana Highway 124 here. Again, that's going to continue tracking off to the north and east into Franklin Parish if this area of rotation does hold together. And I do want to take a look at our debris tracker here, see if there's anything that really stands out. And so far, the good news is there's not anything that stands out significantly, but that doesn't mean that there is not a tornado on the ground. So we're going to treat this like there is a tornado on the ground. That couplet was tight there just a minute ago. So I'm going to go ahead and tweak the radar here, and then we're going to go and track this circulation out for you. So it is currently just to the south of Louisiana Highway 126, just to the southeast of Rosefield, just to the southwest of Duty, and that is going to continue moving off to the northeast at about 30 miles per hour. So if this holds together, it will impact the community of Wisner. Looks like it'll track just to the south of Winsboro, but putting a track on it through the rest of the warning polygon. 1052 is when this circulation is estimated to go through Duty, about 1102 for extension, 1119 for the community of Como, and about 1122 for the city of Loreline. Again, that storm is moving off to the northeast about 30 miles per hour. I do want to take a look at hail tracks if we have an update on those. The good news is it looks like the storm may not be producing hail anymore or very small hail at that. Doppler radar is picking up on anywhere from pea-size to maybe grape-size hail. So very small. But again, with that possible tornado on the ground, you are going to want to seek shelter in that interior room away from windows. You also want to look and see how much rainfall has been falling with this storm. So we're going to take it back out here and get an estimate on that. I'm going to tweak the radar one last time here. You can see that area of rotation moving just to the south of Highway 126. And I'm going to pull that scope down here. Let's see how much rainfall has been falling with this storm. So Doppler radars picked up on about an inch to 2 inches of rain as that storm tracked through LaSalle Parish. So again, heavy rain is also possible with this storm as it tracks into Catahoula Parish and eventually into Franklin Parish if it continues to hold together. So again, if you're near Louisiana Highway 562, the community of Wisner, Gilbert, extension, now is the time to be in your tornado safe place, as there is a possible tornado in the northwestern corner of Catahoula Parish tracking to the north and east. Shayna?
All right, thank you for that update, Jake. So right now, that area of rotation is right on Spring Ridge Road. It's right over the Sherwood area. That's where it's going to be for the next few moments, and then it's going to be headed off north and east. So it's going to go close to Duty, but it looks like it may go just to the south of Duty. You'll probably get still some, heavy, some strong winds in that area, and of course, the heavy rain that's associated with this thunderstorm as well. So just be prepared for, that. And then as this continues north and east, it could be headed towards areas like Extension and eventually Wisner. Wisner is also included within this tornado warning in Franklin Parish. So if you are in those places, hopefully you're monitoring things right now, you're okay. But you do want to be in that safe spot. Be prepared for the storm that is to your south and west. Area of rotation still in Catahoula Parish. Crossed over from LaSalle a little bit earlier ago. It looked like it was tightening up. Still looks pretty decent on our velocity at this time. And again, looks like it's basically right there on top of the city of Sherwood. So this is going to be heading off to the north and east. It's going to cross Louisiana 124, which runs through here. All right, if you live along Duty Ferry Road, make sure that you are in your safe place. If you live along Moore Road in Franklin Parish, also need to make sure that you are in your safe spot, and then extension once that crosses on over. So it's kind of moving off, like I said, north and east. So if it continues on this path, this is right where it would be headed, would almost kind of split between Duty and Booth Cemetery Road is where that rotation would kind of split in between. So this is, picking up as it moves north and east. So far, we haven't got any reports from anyone that they've had damage from this system back towards LaSalle Parish, or even anyone that has been in the way since then. Ameswell as well did not send any reports in so far, and even in our National Weather Service chat, there hasn't been any chatter about potential damages. So just be aware that while it's not necessarily, we're not necessarily getting those reports, it doesn't mean that there isn't damage there, especially since there are power outages, and would probably expect that some power outages come out from close to the Sherwood area as well. So that's what we're monitoring. It looks like that rotation may now be jumping just to the east of Sherwood, south of Duty. And this is in effect until 11:45 a.m. and not necessarily saying that everyone that's included in it will still have that threat at 11:45 a.m., but they have extended it over a pretty big area. So that's why it goes for, at least the next 50 minutes, because it goes all the way up towards Franklin Parish. But there will probably be some areas that get scaled back from that once it passes a little bit further off north and east into the far northeast portions of Catahoula Parish. So if you're in Sherwood, still stay in your safe spot. We will let you know once this completely passes on by you and let you know when it is safe to finally get out of that safe spot. If you live in Duty, you still need to be there as well. And then extension, again, you would be next up on the potential path of this potential tornado. So be aware that this system is coming. Jake, anything?
No updates at this time, Sheena. Actually, I take that back. We do have an extension of that severe thunderstorm warning, now including Caldwell, Grant, LaSalle, and Wynn parishes. That's going to go until 11:45, and we're still monitoring the storm for a possible tornado. Even if there is no tornado, we are looking at very strong winds moving currently near Winfield, near Dodson, along this line here. So I do want to track out this line of showers and storms that's currently moving through the parish. That will continue pushing off to the east over the next little bit. So if you are in the city of Sykes, Tansy, Alla, you're up next for these strong thunderstorms. Again, a severe thunderstorm warning is currently in effect for Caldwell, Grant, LaSalle, and Wynn parishes, and that's going to go until 11:45. If this continues to maintain its strength as it tracks to the east, Alla, this storm will impact you closer to 11:12, Clarks around 11:20, and then Columbia and Rosefield around 11:24. And we have the severe thunderstorm warning in effect because, again, we're monitoring for a possible tornado with the storm, as rotation could spin up very quickly with the storm. We're also looking at wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour and some small hail up to penny size. So again, if you're in these cities, these locations, Sykes, Zion, Urania, Alla, Clarks, now is the time to move away from windows, as we could see gusty winds as well as some small hail. Taking things back out to our active tornado warning, though, that does remain in effect for the next few minutes. In fact, that tornado warning remains in effect until 11:45. So let's go ahead and look at that area of rotation here. I'm going to tweak that radar one more time to get a better view of where that circulation is. And it does look like it has broadened out since its last scan, but that's currently to the south of Louisiana Highway 559, currently located just to the west of Enterprise near Louisiana Highway 124 near Cat Church Road, and that's going to continue moving off to the north and east. So if this maintains its strength as it continues heading towards Gilbert, let me put that box right back up real quick. I'm going to retract this storm out for you, but if it maintains its strength as it continues moving off to the north and east, we can expect it to head close to Wisner and also near the city of Extension, close to 11:05, Gilbert, 11:16, and Swampers closer to 11:30. So if you see your town's name up on the screen, you're going to want to go ahead and take shelter now. Sheena, do you have any updates for us?
All right, thank you for that, Jake. Still just watching that broad area of rotation that we have in Catahoula Parish heading towards Enterprise. So it's going to be pulling up on Enterprise here very soon. I'm going to stop this just so you can see this area of rotation that we have. Again, it has broadened out as Jake was just mentioning. It's kind of right here in this general area where we have that couplet of those greens and those reds. So it is very near the Catahoula Church Road, almost basically on top of it, that runs all the way up through here. So it is just to the south of Duty, but Duty probably getting some of those strong winds. And then this is going to be heading up towards Enterprise. And then we also have Duty Ferry Road up here. So that could be, that area of rotation could be crossing that. And then eventually it'll move up into parts of Franklin Parish, which is just a little bit further north and east. So Sherwood, it looks like for the most part, that area of rotation is now to your east. You're still dealing with a lot of that heavy rain that's associated with this big complex of thunderstorms. And you're also probably still dealing with some of those strong winds as well on the back side of this system. But the actual rotation itself looks like it is now to your north and your east. So you may be in the clear when it comes to the potential of the tornado. It definitely looks like on radar this storm system has weakened maybe just a little bit. Earlier it was showing some purples indicating that it was a bit more intense. Now not so much. Let's zoom out just a little bit. We're hearing the rain, just really torrential downpour right outside of the studio now. So we are definitely feeling the effects here in Monroe, at least, of the rain. But this is that big thunderstorm that's tracking on through the northern parts of Catahoula Parish. And again, this will make its way into Franklin. Franklin, you're really not seeing a whole lot at this time, at least in those southern areas that are in that tornado warning. A little bit of heavy rain up there towards Jigger, but overall just light to moderate rain in the southern portions of Franklin Parish. So this is that big thunderstorm. And then if we zoom out just a little bit further, let's take another big view of what we have all happening across the Arclimus. Now we're still watching this one, the tornado warning that is live. We still also need to watch the severe thunderstorm warning back off to the west, because sometimes when you have these bowing structures like this, you can also get little kinks in that line too that can cause brief spin up tornadoes. And earlier we were seeing a little bit of a kink. You can kind of see how it has one between Jackson and Wynn parishes, how that kind of comes on out. And so sometimes right there, whenever that happens, you could get a little area of rotation, but so far that's not the case. It's mainly just the damaging wind threat that is associated with this big line of thunderstorms. And notice the reds on radar, again, that is torrential rainfall. That means probably down to almost zero visibility if you were to be on the roadways and driving in this. You're not going to see anything. That water's just going to be heavily coming down. I mean, we felt the water all week long, right? You walk out the door in the mornings, the humidity is so much, it just feels like you're swimming through the air at times. And so that's basically what it is. We have so much water in our atmosphere. Now these storms are tapping into that, and they're just torrential raining it out. And so that's why we have so many flooding concerns. I know in Union Parish, they were mentioning some areas were starting to flood, as well as Union County. So if you can, stay put where you are, whether that's at work or home. Don't try to get out on the roadways and drive through all of this. If you do have to get out, if you have, plans that you absolutely need to go out to, just drive with caution. Be aware of other people that are on the roadways. Don't put your life at risk. Don't put anyone else's life at risk. If you're driving too fast and you hit a big puddle, you will hydroplane. It happens, unfortunately. So you've got to take it easy, especially when you can't see anything outside. It's so very, very important to take care of yourself. All right, Jake has an update on the velocities of this tornado warning that we have over Catahoula Parish.
Yes, Sheena, so that area of rotation is now just to the southeast, I should say, of Duty near Cat Church Road, Duty Ferry Road, and that's going to continue moving off to the north and east. This is also just to the west of Enterprise. So we're going to see this continue off to the northeast about 30 miles per hour. I'm going to go ahead and add another track to this just so we can see where the storm will be heading if it maintains its strength throughout the rest of the warning time. Again, that warning goes until 11:45 this morning for portions of Catahoula and Franklin parishes. Again, extension, we're going to see that area of rotation move near you very shortly here, close to 11:10. Gilbert closer to 11:20, and then Loreline Swampers right around 11:30. So if you have not already made your way to your tornado safe place, now's the time to do so. That's the most interior room away from windows of a sturdy building. Now, one thing, again, I can't unfortunately show this to you here, but I do have some power outage updates as well. Just to the southwest of the city of Winfield, we have about 130 customers now without power, according to Entergy's power map. And then closer to Winfield, we have some more isolated power outages, anywhere between 5 and 10 customers without power there. To the south of Winfield, we have about 20 customers, Entergy customers without power. So those storms there, again, producing strong winds. And let's go ahead and take a look at those to, while we've got the map pulled up, again, most of those power outages are focused just to the north of Atlanta, just to the southwest of Winfield. But again, there are some isolated sporadic power outages throughout the community of Winfield as well. Some strong winds are associated with this thunderstorm. Severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for Caldwell, Grant, LaSalle, and Wynn parishes until 11:45. We're also watching that storm to possibly spin up a brief tornado, so it would not hurt to go ahead and take your tornado precautions if you're located within that severe thunderstorm warning as well, just to be on the safe side. But again, taking an updated look at our active tornado warning, we have that area of rotation just to the east of Duty, just to the northwest of Enterprise, tracking off to the northwest. That area of concern is currently located near Duty Ferry Road, also near Horseshoe Lake Road, and more towards the northeast. That's moving towards the city of Extension, Ralph Easterling Road, Sharp Loop, Buddy Wingers Road. Those are some of the areas near where that circulation is going to track. So if you haven't made your way to your safe place, now is the time to do so. Again, that's going to be your interior room, maybe an interior closet or bathroom, away from windows on the lowest level of a sturdy building. And then taking things back out here, we only have that severe thunderstorm warning, the tornado warning, and then the severe thunderstorm warning impacting portions of Wynn Parish. We're going to see those storms continue to move off to the east and the northeast as we go throughout the morning. I do also want to take a look here, see if any of these storms are producing large hail. And it looks like the largest of the hail was produced to the west of Gina earlier, and Doppler radar is currently picking up on some small hail through northwestern portions of Catahoula Parish, looking like marble size at best. But again, if you have any storm damage reports, we encourage you to share those with us. If you are able to do so safely, you can do that on the KNOE weather photo community. The National Weather Service is going to continue that tornado warning until 11:45 for Catahoula and Franklin Parish. It looks like that area of circulation is currently located over the city of Enterprise. Sheena?
Thank you. Yeah, so what they did was when they're extending that, they're also scaling back the warning. So some of the areas that were on the west side of Catahoula Parish that were included in that tornado warning are no longer included. So let me zoom in so you can see where exactly they scaled that back. But it does still include the southern portion of Franklin Parish, and it only covers a small sliver now of Catahoula. So it's actually north of Harrisonburg. Harrisonburg is not included in that as well. So let me change this on over to velocity so that you can see where that area of rotation is located. It's right here. So it's in that very northern tip of Catahoula Parish. And so that's probably going to include areas like he was saying, it's around Enterprise. And then it's also going to be near areas like Duty as well. So this is showing winds anywhere from about 6, 13, 20. So it's not really picking up on how strong those winds are there at the surface. But the problem is we have our radars around the area. We have one in Jackson, we have one in Shreveport, we have one down in Fort Polk, and sometimes they're just too far away from the radar to get those surface winds. A lot of times they're getting winds a little bit higher up in the atmosphere, so it's a little more difficult to detect those strong winds that we have, or it's a little more difficult to detect that area of rotation closer to the surface. But again, we are monitoring this system that's going to be moving into South Franklin Parish. This still includes areas like Wisner, so you need to make sure that you are still taking those tornado precautions. But let's zoom in a little bit further on this area of rotation. So this is Enterprise, this is Duty. Both of those areas, it's still within the vicinity of those areas. It's right along Duty Ferry Road. So that's the spot we're watching. Extension is next. So if you live in Extension, still be in your safe spot. You'll notice that Sherwood no longer in that tornado warning. Rosefield no longer in that tornado warning. And it looks like they just updated the severe thunderstorm warning as well. So this tornado warning itself goes until 11:45. So for the next 40 minutes, 39 minutes, we'll continue to monitor if it continues to try and spin as well. So let's zoom back out. Let's take another look at areas in southern Franklin Parish that are kind of up next on this. Again, this is moving at about 30 miles per hour. So we are monitoring as this moves north and east. Let's do a little cone here from this area of rotation. Let's go up. All right, so we've got extension 1118. It's 1106, so you have about 12, 11 minutes before that storm is rolling on over you, that potential tornado. Jigger, 11:29 a.m. So you have a few more minutes, about 20 minutes until that passes over you. Gilbert, 11:39. So you have about 30 minutes before that's moving on over. So again, 30 miles per hour, not too fast, but picked up from what it was earlier at 20 miles per hour. And it'll be crossing right on over into Franklin Parish here momentarily, as that area of circulation is in the very far northern portion of Catahoula. Now, active weather happening all around the region. Flooding is a big concern. So if you're going out for lunch, I mean, I would just suggest that you stay put and let storms pass on over you before you go on out. But if you absolutely feel like you need to get out on the roadways, please exercise caution. If you happen to run across an area where there is a lot of water on the roadways, turn around. Don't trust it, right? You don't know what the condition of the roadway is beneath that water. You can also report any areas that are flooded to us, and we will tell the National Weather Service. That also helps them issue flash flood warnings or flood advisories in certain locations. But just based on rainfall amounts that are radar estimated, a lot of areas are picking up 2 to even 3 inches of rain. So this is a lot of rain falling. Even El Dorado has picked up at least another 1/10 of an inch since earlier when I showed you this map. They were at 2.21. They're now at 2.36, still showing that the heaviest axis of that rain has been from Union County all the way back towards areas like Shreveport, even down almost close to the Lufkin area, but still just north of that. So that's where the heaviest of the rain was falling this morning. And now we're starting to see those heavier bands pick up across the arc limit. So we have the heavy rain threat that pushed across parts of LaSalle Parish, still seeing that other thunderstorm that's rolling through Wynn and Jackson parishes and is going to sweep around as well. So big picture here is that it's active, right? It is a very active day. You need to make sure that you are staying on alert. 2 active warnings, well, really 3 active warnings at this time. This big cluster of thunderstorms is severe warned, but also tornado warned. Still a lot of lightning with that system. And then right here, we have some bowing of the winds, but that is right now just a strong thunderstorm. And then we have the bowing of the winds down here in Wynn Parish that is a severe thunderstorm. So notice how it's just racing across that second line is. Things are starting to let up towards the Shreveport area. May see some of that rain letting up towards El Dorado here soon, but still have to get through this line back here before we really see conditions improve when it comes to rainfall. Jake?
Yes, Sheena, I do want to take a look at the bigger picture here real quick. We have several active severe thunderstorm warnings and the tornado warning. So we have that tornado warning going until 11:45 for Catahoula and Franklin Parish. And then we have a severe thunderstorm warning that extends just a little bit beyond that tornado warning for Catahoula, Franklin, and Tensas parishes. That will go until 11:45. And then we have that severe thunderstorm warning for portions of Caldwell, Grant, LaSalle, and Wynn parishes. That also goes until 11:45. And as Sheena was just mentioning, that storm that's currently moving through portions of Wynn Parish is exhibiting that bowing shape, which does usually indicates stronger winds. And according to Entergy's power maps, some of those areas are definitely feeling those effects as we are seeing additional power outages pop up on the map. So just to the southwest of Winfield, we see about 131 Entergy customers without power. And then just to the north of Winfield, along Highway 34, there are an additional 66 customers portions of Union Parish. That goes until 11:30 this morning. Both of those significant weather advisories, we are watching for possible intensification. And with this one for Union Parish, we could see winds in excess of 40 miles per hour in addition to penny-size hail. So that being said, I do want to take things back down to that tornado warning. Let's go ahead and put a new track on that, see where that area of rotation is. The velocity getting a little hairy as this storm is moving to the edge of what we consider a radar gap. If I had to guess, that area of rotation is just to the southwest of Gilbert near the city of Extension, and that is going to continue moving off to the northeast about 30 miles per hour. So we will see that track into Jigger here in just about 10 minutes. The city of Gilbert at about 15 minutes, closer to 11:25. Como as we approach 11:30, and then Swampers getting closer to 11:40. So if you've not already made your way to your tornado safe place, now is the time to go ahead and take shelter as a possible tornado is tracking in your direction. I'm going to check and see if we have any updates here. We do have a report of a flash flood over in Union Parish. And as Sheena mentioned just moments ago, these storms have been producing a good bit of rainfall. So that is another thing I want to take a look at here real quick before I toss things back to Sheena, to see how much rainfall we have received in some of these locations. Doppler radar picking up on close to 1.7 inches of rain falling in northern portions of Wynn Parish already. Just to the north of Gina, we're looking at close to 2 inches of rain estimated by Doppler radar. And then where that storm's currently tracking through Catahoula Parish, we're looking at a little over 2 inches of rain. So make sure to turn around, don't drown if you encounter flooded roadways. Sometimes these flash floods can wash out the roads beneath them and you cannot see what lies underneath them. So it is very important to play it safe today if you encounter any significant ponding with the roadways. Again, that tornado warning in effect for Catahoula and Franklin parishes for the next 30 minutes. But now I'm going to go ahead and toss things back to Sheena.
All right, thank you for that, Jake. Also hearing reports that River Oaks is going to be letting out at 12:30 p.m. Just due to the active weather that we have around the region, the heavy rainfall, and of course the strong winds and the tornado threat that we'll continue to keep through at least 5 p.m. this evening. So I did want to point out really quickly, notice it looks like that area of rotation is kind of dying out. So down here, it was a bit more healthy. Then it's crossed over into Franklin Parish. Now it's in southern Franklin Parish and it's not looking as strong. So that is a good sign because that tells us, okay, maybe now the storm's starting to weaken a little bit. Maybe it's not having as strong a rotation, which means it doesn't have as strong of winds either. So this does expire within the next 30 minutes, 31, 32 minutes, all right, 11:45 a.m. Might possibly, if it continues on the same path that it is right now, where it has that weakening sign, may be able to allow it to expire a little bit earlier. So we will monitor that and give you those updates. But if not, southern Franklin Parish is still included in that tornado warning. And so that is going to include areas like Wisner. I do want to zoom in really quickly. Let's get a closer view of where this system is located, if it'll work for me. Let's see if we can get it going here. All right, looks like it's frozen. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here on the side so you can see that area of rotation. Again, so it looks like it has crossed over into Franklin Parish. So if you live in areas like Duty, that looks like it has passed away from you as well. And the same with Extension. Enterprise. If you live in Enterprise, that has now passed as well. Extension itself is kind of close to that broad area of rotation, and then Metropolis is also close to that area. Jigger, Gilbert, you're still included in that tornado warned area. So be aware that at least some strong winds, while it's not showing rotation, we still have to monitor things because again, as we mentioned, there is a radar gap. So sometimes that can limit what we are seeing on our side when it comes to rotation. Let's see. So yes, that area is between 3 radars looking at the high ground. So it appears weak, but it could necessarily just be at upper levels, it's weak, and then towards the surface could still have that strong area of rotation. So this is that spot. This is that problem spot that we're watching near Extension. It looks like maybe crossing off to the east now of Extension. It's going to head maybe just to the south of Jigger. Highway 875, you want to be aware of that. Robert Farrington Road, you also want to be aware that the potential of a tornado is going to be rolling on through here pretty soon. If it continues on that same path, it's probably going to come very close to the Gilbert area. May go in between Gilbert and Wisner. So both of those locations, be aware, Holly Grove is right here, and that area of rotation is just off to the north and the west, moving at 30 miles per hour. So let's do another let's see if we can't get this thing working here. Looks like it doesn't want to budge for us today. That's all right. But again, you have a few minutes in Gilbert. If you haven't gotten to that safe spot, now's the time to do it. You want to be taking action. Lowest, most interior portion of your home, your business. If you're at work right now in the Gilbert area, if you're at work right now in the Jigger area, Wisner area, you need to be prepared for this system and make sure you have multiple ways to receive alerts. We've already seen some power outages in these locations. And so if you're watching on a television and your power goes out, you're obviously not going to have us on TV anymore. You can download the KNOE 8 weather app. That'll tell you, give you those updates and those alerts as well. And then of course, a weather radio is so vital to have during times like this when we have very active weather rolling on through and we have power outages rolling on through, because those weather radios will continue to work whenever your power is out, as long as you have the backup batteries in them. If you don't, and then you lose power, of course, you will also lose that radio power. So just make sure that you are prepared in the best ways possible. Jake?
Yes, Shayna, right now we're seeing that broad area of rotation just over and south of Jigger near Highway 875, near Robert Farrington Road, just over Ralph Easterling Road as well, just to the northeast of Extension. And we'll continue to see this storm track off to the northeast about 30 miles per hour. So this broad area of rotation here, very close to the city of Gilbert. If you are not already in your safe place, now is the time to get there. The circulation is very close, and it will be moving into your city here in the next few minutes. I do want to go ahead and track this out. We are having a bit of difficulty with the radar coverage as it is between those 3 radars. And it is also getting pretty close to the edge of that tornado warning as well. So with the current track, we'll see this move into Gilbert here in the next few minutes, around 11:23, 11:29 for Como, 11:31 for Loreline, and 11:36 for the city of Swampers. So if you have not made your way to your safe place, now is the time to do that. Again, that's going to be your most interior room of a sturdy building away from windows. I do want to take a look here, see if we have any updates on hail tracks as well as the rainfall rate, because this storm is producing some heavy rain too, and it is moving slow. So we're seeing a good amount of rainfall with this storm as well. So we're not seeing much as far as hail, although there could be some small hail falling. Again, that radar coverage is a bit spotty as we are in a bit of a radar gap. As far as estimated rainfall though, let's go ahead and put a box out for that. We're looking at close to 2 inches of rain near the city of Wisner. I'm going to adjust the radar here one last time very quickly. So yes, as we see that storm approach Wisner, it is producing some very heavy rainfall and potentially some small hail as well. So just to the west of Gilbert, we've seen a little over 1 inch of rain already, and then where that storm has moved just moments ago, we've seen closer to 2 inches of rainfall accumulation there. So again, if you encounter any flooded roadways, make sure to turn around. Don't try to go through those roadways as you don't know what lies underneath that ponding water. But if you can, try to avoid getting out on the roads for the next little bit as things are a bit dicey out there. Now, I do want to take a quick updated look at the rotation with this storm, which is going to be a little difficult to see. And we'll go and put an updated track on that as well. So again, that area of rotation a bit broad, but it is currently approaching the city of Gilbert. And that area of rotation is currently near Louisiana Highway 4. Near the city of Jigger, near Highway 875, 876, just to the northwest of Metropolis, and also just to the west of Wisner. And we're going to see that storm move off to the northeast, about 30 miles per hour. So again, putting one last track on the storm. Looks like we're going to see that tornado warning continue for the next few minutes. It's also been trimmed back a little bit. Now we're only seeing that warning in effect for Franklin Parish. So for now, Catahoula Parish is in the all clear. Again, one last track there. We're going to see that storm enter the city of Gilbert here within the next 10 minutes. Como within the next 15. Swampers about 11:40. And then if we see this area of rotation maintain its strength beyond then, we'll see Tensaw Bluff see that rotation closer to 11:50. Westwood closer to 11:55. And the city of Quimby a little after noon. Sheena?
All right, thank you for that update, Jake. So tornado watch is in effect until 5 p.m., covers all areas of the ArkLaMiss. And so with this being said, not all areas will have tornado threats until 5. We'll probably see threats wrap up, especially for the western half of the region, a little bit sooner than that. We could see that tornado threats stick around for later than that for some of our eastern areas, but we'll be monitoring this for the rest of the day today. We have about 25 more minutes until that tornado warning that is in Franklin Parish does expire. So we are monitoring all of that. Now, with the rainfall, we've seen 2.36 inches of rain in El Dorado since earlier on today. So far, not picking up big rainfall amounts in areas like Monroe, Natchitoches, or Alexandria, but you can see a few other problem spots in between our observation sites. So it is showing some of those heftier totals, especially over parts of Union Parish, may even have upwards of 2 inches of rain there as well. And then the same can be said for northern portions of LaSalle Parish, all across Jackson Parish, and then the west sides of Wynn Parish. A lot of rain in these locations. Big picture here, we have three active warnings. Severe thunderstorm warning for Franklin Parish into parts of Tensaw Parish, and that also includes the tornado warned storm. And then we have this big complex of thunderstorms with the Boeing structure to it that is moving across Wynn into the LaSalle and Caldwell parishes, and that is also a severe thunderstorm warned. That is mainly for the strong winds. Now, I also want to point out we still have some Boeing on the northern side of this that's moving through northern portions of Caldwell. It's also moving through southern portions of Ouachita Parish. That's a strong thunderstorm, so there's still some hefty winds associated with that. Still some decent lightning also coming off of that, so just be aware it's pretty electrical storm. We had a really loud thunder here a little bit ago, and so it may be quite noisy from time to time, but this big axis of rain is just filling in across the central areas of the Arklamas. We still have a bit of rain back off to our west, and then areas to the east, a little bit drier, west East Carroll parishes, even down towards Catahoula and Concordia Parish now, a little bit drier. You're probably going to see more of that rain wrap around here as we go into the afternoon hours. So that's what we're monitoring. So let's track things out on Futurecast. What are we looking at for the rest of the day? Well, basically what you're seeing now is what will stick around at least through the next hour or so. We should start to see some conditions improving, especially for the northwest side of the Arklamas as we go later into this afternoon. This is 3 p.m., but notice it's showing a lot of active rain over areas like West and East Carroll Parish, Madison Parish, all the way back towards Wynn Parish. That also continues to wrap around. Looks like we'll still have some potential for severe weather threats over the southeast corner of the Arklamas by 6 p.m. And again, that tornado watch is in effect until 5, so it could get extended for some of our river parishes, and we will let you know if that happens to be the case. But beyond that, it does look like by 8 p.m. things are wrapping up. Mainly some light rain behind the system on the back edge of it, but notice that most areas are starting to see that clearing. Now, they did go ahead and throw out that new update for the severe weather outlook a little earlier, and this is the slight risk. So it covers areas from Morehouse Parish back into Union Parish, all the way down towards Jackson, Wynn, wraps around to our southeast areas. So that is that slight risk that is in effect. That'll be in effect through this afternoon and this evening until all storms have cleared out of the Arklamas. The good thing is that after we kick out the widespread rain for today, our rain chances are going to drop off quite a bit as we go into tomorrow, but also as we head into this weekend. So we are going to finally get a little bit of relief from the widespread chances for rain that we have in the area. And so that will also bring about warmer temperatures. We are looking at upper 80s and low 90s over those days, so you need to make sure that you'll be hydrating. Jake, let's get an update on the radar.
Yes, Sheena, taking a look at the velocity where we're kind of watching that area of rotation still, it is just off to the west of Wisner, just to the southwest of the community of Gilbert near Highway 876, 875, Huggins Lane. If you are familiar with those roads and you're located near those, now's the time to get in your tornado safe place, as that tornado warning does remain in effect until 11:45. We're also going to see this continue to track off to the north and east, likely impacting the city of Gilbert, areas near LD Knox Road, Bucks Bottoms Road, and maybe just barely missing Griffin, but you are included in that warning, so it is important to go ahead and take those tornado precautions as the track of this can shift. I do want to go ahead and put a new updated track on that area of rotation. Again, it's currently located just to the southwest of Gilbert. We'll likely see it continue to track that direction here over the next few minutes. And if this holds its strength, we could see it approach the community of Tensaw Bluff around 11:50. Swampers closer to 11:43. Gilbert, though, in the next 5 minutes. So again, if you're in Gilbert and you're not already in your tornado safe place, now is the time to go ahead and make your way there. We'll see this continue tracking off to the northeast, closer to Como and Loreline around 11:35, 11:40, and then again moving towards Swampers around 11:43. I do want to take an updated look, see if the storm is producing any hail. Earlier, it was showing small hail, and it does look to still be the case as it continues moving near Gilbert. But very small hail is what's being estimated by Doppler radar, about pea-size hail, so that's well below severe limits. But certainly something we're going to keep an eye on as the storm continues to track through the Arklamas. I do also want to take a look and see if we have any updates on the rainfall rates with this storm, because not only do we have a possible tornado, the storm has been slower moving and producing some very heavy rain, which could lead to some localized flooding. So taking a look at that here real quick, near Gilbert, just to the south and west, we've seen already an inch of rain, and then again, to the southwest of that, they've picked up over 2 inches of rain as that slow-moving storm has been producing heavy rain. So again, if you're out on the roads, I would encourage you not to be on the roads unless you absolutely have to. But remember, if you encounter flooded roadways, turn around, don't drown, as you don't know what lies underneath those flooded roadways. But again, that tornado warning does remain in effect until 11:45 a.m. for Franklin Parish. Sheena?
All right, thank you for that, Jake. So, going back to the area that we have of rotation that's over Franklin Parish, this is a radar gap spot. So it is very hard to indicate the surface and that rotation that's at the surface. So while we may not necessarily be seeing that official rotation at the surface, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is not there. So it is important to make sure that you are taking this seriously and that you are in your safe spot. Now that area of rotation looks like it's going to be headed close to the Wisner area and passing across Skates Road. Looks like it may go just to the south of Gilbert, and then it is to the south of Jicker as well. So those are the areas. Now, once you get into the purple, of course, it's a little bit harder to determine where exactly that's located, but it looks like it is kind of in this general area, this vicinity, and that is west of Wisner. So Wisner, you're going to come close to seeing that area of rotation, and then eventually, if it continued on, it would be near the Griffin area. So this is moving northeast, 30 miles per hour. It is still in effect until 11:45 a.m. So the next 17 minutes, this will continue to stay in effect across these areas. So just keep in mind that this is going to be a problem spot. And even if it were to, see that the warning gets expired, we'll have to watch out for it to try and spin back up again. Now, we are going to be approaching our noon show here pretty soon. Hopefully, if this were to expire, we will be allowed to have the noon show like normal and give you the big grand scheme of things, the big update on everything that we expect through the rest of today and into parts of your Friday and this weekend. But as of right now, of course, our attention is drawn to this area, this tornado warning that we have. So let's zoom back out. Let's get another view of the system. It looks like it still doesn't want to work for me today. That's one thing with technology. Sometimes it is not exactly on our side. So let's zoom on out here. And this is what we have, a broad area of rotation. And it looks like, are we getting an update there? So they're going to continue the severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Franklin and Tensall parishes. This one's still same thing until 11:45 a.m. And basically what they're saying, tornado possible with this. That's why we still have the tornado warning itself in these areas. So Gilbert and Wisner, stay in your safe spot. That'll be passing on over here pretty soon. Jumping a little bit further west, we still have those strong winds that are tracking through Caldwell as well as LaSalle parishes. So let's take a look at that right here. Okay, so that is just near the Clarks area. If you're in Clarks, you're going to be getting some of those strong winds rolling on through here very soon. And then as well as the Olla area. A little bit further north, we just have the big heavy rainfall threats that we've been seeing. As Jake was mentioning, a lot of rain has been falling in these areas. Just because we're not picking it up on our observation sites doesn't necessarily mean that the areas in between the observation sites are good to go. Because again, we are seeing that heavy rain threat all across the Arklamas. So this particular tornado warning that we still have in effect is there until 11:45 a.m. Also want to point out a couple of these showers and thunderstorms that are developing to the south of our far southern parishes. Those will also have that potential for brief spin-ups as they push north into our areas. So areas like LaSalle, Catahoula, Concordia parishes, while you may have already had some of those tornado warnings pass on through, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're in the clear for the rest of the afternoon. Now, areas back off to the west of this line, they're a little bit more in the clear, but any areas to the south are still seeing that surge of moisture northward as that area of low pressure that's back off in Texas is helping to drag all that moisture up. So that's what we'll be continuing to keep a very close eye on throughout the day. Jake?
Yes, Sheena, we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning out. This is going to go until noon for Caldwell, Ouachita, and Union parishes. Now, one thing we are going to have to keep an eye on with the storm, in addition to damaging winds and some small hail, is the possibility for a tornado, a brief spin up. And we've had that potential for most of the morning. So there is, it looks like a few areas of possible broad rotation in this storm that we'll have to watch if they tend to strengthen up. Again, that new severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for storms moving through Ouachita, Caldwell, and Union parishes, I believe. Yes, that is correct, until noon today. So do you also want to take a look here and see if hail tracks is showing anything, which right now it's not, but we could see some hail just below severe limits with the storm. Again, the primary threat will be those damaging winds as well as the potential to see a spin-up tornado. In fact, with the storm, we could see up to penny-size hail, which the Doppler 8 radar does seem to be picking up here just a little bit, but isn't quite showing up on our hail tracks. I do also want to take a look and see how much rainfall this storm has been producing as it's pushed to the east throughout the morning. I'll go ahead and bring that up here real quick. Again, the storm is about to move through some more heavily populated areas in the Arklamas, including the city of Monroe. So far with the storm off to the west, we have seen accumulation just under 1 inch of rain. Again, these storms moving a bit on the slow side this morning, which that in addition to the heavy rain could lead to some localized flooding across the region. And again, we're going to see that storm push off to the east about 35 miles per hour. So I'm going to go ahead and put a track on this so we can see where this storm is heading. So again, that heavy rain starting to impact areas like Monroe, Swartz, heading towards Oak Ridge, Richwood, just to the west there of Highway 15. Actually, I just want to go ahead and put a track on this big line of storms here that are mostly severe warned. So over the next little bit, we'll see this line of severe warned storms pushing off to the east. These will impact Swartz here in the next few minutes. Winsboro closer to 11:50. Delhi closer to noon if all of this holds together. Epps around 11:05, and Tallulah if these storms maintain their strength closer to 11:20. So again, that new severe thunderstorm warning out for portions of Caldwell, Ouachita, and Union parishes. We're keeping an eye out for damaging winds as well as the potential to see a brief spin-up tornado. Sheena?
All right, thank you for that, Jake. So area of rotation that we're still monitoring with the tornado warned storm. It looks like it's right in between kind of the Wisner and Gilbert areas, maybe moving right over the northern portions of Wisner. And then up next is Griffin. Griffin, you'll see that area of rotation pass pretty close. So that is the spot. And if you're in those areas, you need to make sure that you are still in your safe place. We'll give you the all clear once it has all passed on over. And you'll probably still have a lot of rain threats throughout the afternoon. And of course, we'll still be monitoring for any other little brief spin-ups that these storms may be able to cause. But right now, this is the only area that is tornado warned. It's the only one that is showing the signs of rotation that we typically will look out for whenever we're trying to diagnose where tornadoes could be. So this area of rotation, as I mentioned, it looks rather broad, but again, this is also that spot where it is a radar gap, especially once you hit these areas that are in the purple. And so it's a little bit more difficult to see what's happening right at the ground, because what happens is, our earth is curved. And so whenever the radar beams are coming, a lot of times by the time they reach those areas that are further away from the radar, it's seeing way up in the atmosphere instead of down here where you want that picture at. So right now we're seeing that area of rotation near Wisner, as I mentioned, and it looks like it's crossed right over 425 between Gilbert and Wisner. It's kind of sitting over those areas. And then it's going to be headed up toward Louisiana 572. So areas like River Road to the south of that, Griffin, of course, maybe even Turner Row up here. You want to make sure that you are prepared as this storm is rolling on past you. If you live in Jigger, you're still mainly just dealing with rain across the region. And again, that's the big picture here. Heavy rainfall threats, strong winds, large hail, all of that will continue to be possible for this afternoon and even into parts of this evening. The good thing is this isn't going to be like a late night event. So a lot of these storms should be wrapping up before 7 p.m. tonight. And so you'll be able to go to sleep tonight and be able to sleep through it without having to worry about the weather. But of course, we're dealing with it during the day today. So that means that if you have any plans to be out on the roadways and traveling either for lunch or maybe for business, whatever it's for, maybe cancel those plans that you have, stay put. Don't be out on the roadways unless you absolutely have to be, because at times this rain can be blinding. I mean, it is so torrential, so heavy, it can be blinding, but it can also cause that putting on the roadways. Even just small puddles can cause your car to hydroplane if you're going fast enough. So if you are going to be out there, make sure you're slowing down and just, keep in mind that there are other people on the roadways, right? If you're driving too fast on roads that are starting to pond up, you're not only putting your life in danger, but you're also putting other people's lives in danger that may be on the roadways by you. So be aware of all of these things. Now, this area of rotation still looking like it's pushing up north and east. Now looks like it's to the north and east of Wisner. So it would be kind of right in between all of these areas between Wisner, Griffin, and Gilbert, kind of in that little triangle right there. This little spot is the problem spot that we're watching. So it's going to be lifting over 572 here very soon. And we should see that warning gets wrapped up here in the next 10 minutes. So as soon as that is expired and we do not have any more active tornado warnings, we will get off air. We do have our noon show coming up today at noon, and we will do weather as normal for that show as long as the weather allows us to do it. If there are any more tornado warnings, of course, we're going to be cutting back into programming. Jake?
Yes, Sheena, we do have another severe thunderstorm warning, this one now to the east of Ouachita Parish, going for Franklin and Richland parishes until 12:45, as we see this line of strong to severe thunderstorms continue to push off to the east. Again, we are watching this one here for Caldwell, Ouachita, Union Parish. That goes until noon. The main threat with those are damaging winds and the potential to see a brief spin-up tornado. Then to the south of that, we still have this severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Caldwell, Grant, LaSalle, and Wynn parishes. We're watching that one for damaging winds, a possible spin-up tornado, as well as some small hail. That's going to go until 11:45. And these especially, you can notice that Boeing segment there. That there usually indicates that we have damaging winds. Then off to the east again, we have that new severe thunderstorm warning and that tornado warning that's remaining in effect until 11:45 this morning. Looking at the big picture here, you can see those strong to severe storms, lots of lightning, which again does indicate that these storms do have a lot of fuel to work with this morning. But I do want to go ahead and zoom things in back to that active tornado warning. Again, we could see that expire here in just a few minutes, but the National Weather Service did also mention that we could see that warning extended if it is needed. But I do want to go ahead and take a look at that area of rotation here located in Franklin Parish. Let me adjust the radar real quick. Hopefully we can get a better view because it is hard to see here in the radar gap. So that area of rotation is going to be located near Wisner, just to the north of Windsor, it appears like, and it is right on the edge of that warning box. So we should see either that warning be allowed to expire here in the next few minutes or extended depending on what the National Weather Service thinks about the current state of this circulation. It does look very broad at this time, but if it does maintain its strength and continue moving off to the northeast, the community of Loreline, you're up around 11:46. We'll see that move into New Light closer to 11:55. Tensas Bluff just shortly thereafter, and then Westwood a little after the noon hour. Quimby there just a little after 12:10. So if you're in those areas, go ahead and prepare to move into your safe place if you're not already in that warning. If you are within this red box, though, if you got that warning on your phone, now's the time to go ahead and move into your safe place. It does look like the National Weather Service is going to continue that warning, not as a tornado warning, but as a severe thunderstorm warning that will now go into effect and remain in effect until 1 p.m. So let's see if we can get that box up there. It doesn't look like that new update's quite in our system just yet.
We did get a report from Winfield where the severe thunderstorm warning was. Trees reported down across the roadway in the city of Winfield. So Winfield did get a little bit of tree damage from the severe thunderstorms that rolled through a little bit earlier. That report came at 11:25 a.m. So trees down in the Winfield area. Again, this just shows you how powerful these thunderstorms are.
Yes, absolutely. And again, there are still some power outages out in that area as well. Taking things in a little bit more. About 131 customers are still without power to the southwest of Winfield. And we're seeing some isolated spots with customers without power as well. So that's something we're going to keep an eye on. The community of Grayson, just south of Columbia, has about 500 customers now without power, according to Entergy's map as well. So I do want to put one more track on that tornado, on that circulation in the tornado warning before I hand things back to Sheena. But that is located just to the northeast of Wisner, and that's going to continue moving about 30 miles per hour to the northeast. Again, the strongest part of the storm is going to be near Como, about 11:45. Loreline close to 11:47, and then Tensas Bluff there right before the noon hour. Sheena?
All right, thank you for that, Jake. We can hear the rain just coming down on the station right now. So again, torrential rainfall all across the ArkLaMiss. Some areas are dry at this time, but rain is going to be rolling into those places here pretty soon. This area of rotation that is tornado warned, it's 11:40 right now. It is expected to expire at 11:45 so far. There is no word on if they want to downstream it. They are watching it though, as they were mentioning moments ago that circulation does look like it's trying to get maybe organized a bit more. So if that's the case and they do need to extend it, then we'll let you know. But as of right now, this is set to expire at 11:45 a.m. But if you live in Griffin, you still want to make sure that you are in that safe spot. Como as well, you're right there on the edge of that tornado warning. And then Loreline would be up next. So those kind of areas right there in that little triangle, that's where you want to be in your safe spot still. It looks like Wisner, you're definitely in the clear now. You're still in that tornado warning, but that area of rotation looks like it is off to your north and east. So it looks like you're okay. Gilbert, you're still in close vicinity to that area of rotation. So make sure you're staying in your safe spot just a bit longer. You're probably definitely hearing the heavy rain that's coming down with this system, maybe even some of the strong winds that we have associated with it as well. So you can see that it's a little bit of a jumble mess. We have so many warnings ongoing in these areas. All the yellow boxes that you're seeing is severe thunderstorm warnings. And then anything in the red, of course, is the tornado warning. So very, very active scene here in the ArkLaMiss, even a little bit further off towards the west, we are seeing that, heavy rains just filling on in. It looks like even some more heavy rain starting to pick up to the west of areas that we're seeing some relief of that rain. Lincoln and Jackson parishes, you're going to get another round of it coming in here very soon. So, just wait. If you have lunchtime plans, wait a little bit longer. Let those pass on by. Let those road conditions start to improve. And let some of that water run away before you decide to get out on the roads. We also have quite a bit of heavy rain across Ashley County and Morehouse Parish, West and East Carroll parishes. You'll be seeing that here soon. Madison Parish, that heavy thunderstorm starting to roll in, as well as Tinsall Parish is kind of just on your western edge. So you'll be seeing some of that lightning activity. We also have those thunderstorms popping up to the south, and they're starting to gain some lightning. They're starting to get a little bit more intense than earlier when they were just pop-up showers. So those systems that are to our south are also in kind of those tornado areas where the ingredients are there for us to see brief spin-ups. So if you live in areas like Catahoula and Concordia parishes, then you need to be on alert. Be ready to take shelter if need be, have ways to receive those alerts, and just to stay ready throughout the afternoon and the evening. Now, areas off to the west, for the most part, tornado threat should be dropping off some, but we could still see a little brief spin up try to pop up in between some of these storms. Sometimes whenever those gust fronts meet up with each other from different storms, it can allow for a little bit of a kinking. So just be aware that, those spin ups are possible, but this is the only warning that we have. And it does look like that it kind of extends off to the north and east as a severe thunderstorm warning. Should be allowed to expire here in the next 2 minutes. If that's the case, we won't get off of your TV. And in the next 15 minutes from that, we will be on in the noon show to have all the weather updates that you'll need for the rest of today, but also maybe to end out this week and head into the weekend when we expect rain chances to finally drop off some. But this widespread rain is around for at least the first half of the day into parts of the early evening. By tonight, things will start to wrap up in the arc limits. You'll be able to go to sleep as normal and not have to worry about any late night storms. I know last night we had a couple tornado warnings, one in Union County, one in Union Parish. Luckily, no damage reports came out of either of those warnings, and we're hoping that we continue to see no damage reports out of the rest of these warnings that we have. But trees already down towards Winfield area. Some areas without power, we'll continue to see that, especially with the heavy rain rolling on through. Sometimes even just the heavy rain and even some of the gusty winds can allow for those power lines to bounce and knock out power. So that's what we are monitoring. This should be expiring here within the next minute. Jake, is there anything else to share?
We don't have any additional updates at this time. It looks like there is a new severe weather outlook out, but I would not expect that to change too much from what we showed a little bit earlier. Still kind of watching that area of rotation near Loreline and Griffin and Como. I'm going to try to move this a little bit more so we can get a better picture here of what is going on. But yes, that area of rotation currently near Shorty Craven Road, just to the south of Highway 555, and near Big Lake Management Road. The good news is, though, it does seem to be weakening as it continues to move off to the north and east, so we could possibly see this warning expire here in the next minute. But as we wait for that, just make sure to stay put, stay in your safe place if you're already there, as again, there could be a potential tornado. But the good news is, again, this does seem to be weakening as it moves to the northeast, and it does seem like we have a good chance to see this warning be allowed to expire. Taking things back out here, looking at the bigger picture, again, we do have several severe thunderstorm warnings, but that tornado warning thankfully has been canceled, so it looks like we're about to head off the air. Sheena?
Yep, thank you for that. We're going to get off of here. Hopefully we'll be back as normal for the noon show and not have to cut in for the rest of the day.